As we're aware, our topic today is looking at segmentation, marketing information systems, and we're fortunate to have guest presenters from Unify services. So we've got Mitch and Mo, who are going to enlighten us about data analytics in the context of business today to assist with marketing decision making. So I'll hand you over to Mo.
Thank you very much. Good evening, guys. How are you? Yeah, that's what I like to hear. All right, so my name is Mo. Thank you very much, Kevin, for introducing me. I've been the technology manager for Unify Services for the last 2 years. And throughout that time, we've looked at big data extensively. Now, who here has heard of the term big data? All right. Yeah, that's awesome. Can anyone explain it to me? Yeah, that's what I thought. Big data is one of those things that, oh, that's not big data, that's for sure. So big data is definitely an industry buzzword, which delights some and perplexes others. In a nutshell, big data is simply just a large data set which can be analyzed to find patterns and trends. So that's it, really. So when you hear the term big data, it's as simple as your Excel spreadsheet or a database. Times that to the nth degree, though. Now, data is everywhere. It's very extensive. According to Google's CEO, we create around 5 exabytes, sorry, even larger, worth of data every 2 days, which is huge. Who here is a Telstra customer? You got free data yesterday? That's basically half of what I downloaded yesterday. No, I'm kidding. So why should we even care about data? So data is an integral part of every business. It not only helps us define the goals, but it also helps us understand whether we've achieved or failed those goals. The number one question that I get asked is, where do I find data? So a lot of people don't realize how much data we actually interact with on a day-to-day basis. Could anyone give me an example of data? Anyone want to volunteer? Newspapers? So information. So they take data and they turn that into information. It's good though.
Receipts.
Receipts. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, anyone else?
Aircraft ticket sales?
Yeah, sales, absolutely. So I'm going to look at 3 very common data sources that we use for a lot of our customers. The number one being Google Analytics. Has anyone used Google Analytics? Show of hands. Yeah, great. So a lot of people. Google Analytics is not only fantastic and free and a freemium software, it's also very scary in the sense that it has a very rich data set. Not only that, Google Analytics is very simple to install on pretty much every website, mobile application, which makes it a winner for a lot of businesses, especially small, medium businesses. Now, Google Analytics can actually find a lot of data about the users that interact with your website. Some of them include demographics, geographics, time of day, impressions, referral source, and advertisement metrics. It works very closely with Google's advertising network called AdWords, and obviously there's a lot of cross-sell with the product, and hence why it is free. The second data source that we work quite extensively with is Wi-Fi. Now, Wi-Fi, a lot of people get really perplexed by this because what data can you extract from Wi-Fi? But Wi-Fi is unbelievably rich. Now, every single person has about 1.5 devices on them at any one time. Every time that device has their Wi-Fi turned on, it will actually send a beacon out to an access point. And every time that happens, there is some very smart software that can collect that information. So what we can get from just that information alone, from people not even thinking twice about Wi-Fi or connecting to a Wi-Fi network, we can actually see how many people have passed by that access point. How many visitors, so how many people actually stay in that location for a period of time, and how many people connect to it. Now, just this data alone is extensively rich. I'll give you an example. When we advertise online, how can we understand whether that is affecting our brick and mortar store? Well, Wi-Fi analytics is one way we can do that. And I'll go into how we can connect the two later in this presentation. Now, even more impressive than this is another service called Purple Wi-Fi. And what this does is it puts socially integrated Wi-Fi to the mass business, all right, to the small, medium business. And what it can do is it can actually connect. So every time you connect to a Wi-Fi network, it will prompt you to either enter, fill out a form or connect via your social media platform. Now, when this happens, the data that is collected from social media is unbelievably rich. We all are, very aware of the amount of data Facebook collects, but not only that, LinkedIn and Twitter, they all collect huge amounts of demographics and data about every person who connects to your Wi-Fi network. Now, from that, you can take unbelievable amounts of information from there. Age, gender, even music preferences. So the cafe that you go to regularly, if they start playing the music that you enjoy, it's probably not a coincidence. They probably know what type of music you enjoy, especially if you've connected over Wi-Fi and you've signed up through Facebook. And finally, advertising. So these are just 3 examples of extensive data sources that are available every single day. And advertising is very rich in data. For a lot of website advertisements, impressions and click-through rate, that's what CTR is. I'm sure all of you have seen this information. Time of day, location of advertisement, and when we say location, it could be the website, it could be Facebook, where it's sitting on Facebook, demographics, and of course, cost. That's one thing that the advertisers will always share with you because they want your money. All right, so big data. It's a scary thought for a lot of people. Has anyone used Power Pivot here? No? Excel? Surely. Everyone? Okay. So think of Excel as the simplified way of using big data. Right? We create graphs, we create pivot tables. We can create a lot of information from a small set of data. Now imagine if we multiply that by 1,000, 10,000. We can create a lot more data. And not only that, we can use software that actually joins together these different disparate data sources. The software that we use is called Tableau. Now, Tableau is a remarkable piece of software that's affordable for a lot of the small, medium, and enterprise businesses. And Tableau can collect a lot of information from a lot of different and disparate data sources. Google Analytics being one, Excel being another thing, another data source. Now, this is probably the most common because we all store our data in Excel. This is slowly being shifted to the cloud. But the cloud means so much more. The cloud could mean Facebook, how many likes your page is receiving. It could mean your Salesforce data, and Salesforce is a very popular customer relationship management program. Counter is a point of sale software. And again, my previous example with Wi-Fi and brick and mortar stores, how can we correlate the sales to the online advertisement to physical sales, and MailChimp being your email lists. Now we can take all these different disparate data sources, including your databases that you may have, and create really rich and informational graphs from that, which gives you an instant snapshot of what's happening in your business in real time as well. Now I want to draw attention to the fact that this is running in a web browser. So this is running any standard old web browser. And what's impressive about that is that you don't actually have to install any special software, but you could still be mining millions, billions of data sources, and it could work on your tablet or laptop or mobile phone. So that's a bit of a closer look at some of the graphs. Obviously a lot prettier than what you'd get from Excel. Some Excel graphs are unbelievably boring. So with this software, you definitely get much more informative graphs and diagrams. So with that particular piece of software, what can you visualize just in a snapshot? Return on investment, obviously one of the most popular views that you'd see in a lot of your marketing campaigns. And you can see that instantaneously and in real time as well, which typically you don't get with an Excel spreadsheet or a lot of different disparate data sources. Opportunities are another big one. Mitch will explain the concepts later in the presentation and how they can actually visualize some opportunities that may be hidden in that data sources. And again, trends, patterns, and timelines, and also geographic data. This is one of those things that typically someone who has very basic Excel spreadsheet skills can't do. It's very difficult to do. So where is this already being used? It's actually everywhere. Heavily being used in energy, transport, of course, advertising and marketing, and retail. And as the years and the days go on, it'll be picked up by more and more businesses, especially at when it becomes a more competitive in terms of price point. So in practice, we've used this particular software to take 2 or 3 very disparate data sources and turn them into some very informative information in real time. One of the most popular sources of information was the website advertising and radio advertising. So it's 2 very different channels of marketing. We then use Google Analytics and combine that to verify instantly whether their return on investment was positive, negative, and another big thing for a lot of businesses, this was done in real time. So they didn't have to go out and hire a data analyst to go out and create these reports. It was there, it was accessible. We could also break down things like web versus radio effectiveness, right? And this is something that typically you couldn't do with just 1 or 2 data sources and not without a lot of time in between as well. All right, so I'm going to pass it on to Mitch, and he's going to explore a bit more of the concepts and new trends that are coming up in the market today.
Thank you, Mo. All right, so why are we actually here? I was in this class at the end of last year. Really loved the class. Actually, my favourite class. Everyone else's favourite class? Yeah. I bet it is. Because it's real. Okay, so this is not a sales meeting. That's why I didn't start. If it's a sales meeting, I usually start. He gets the brains out and he tells everyone how amazing all this stuff is and explains how it's actually going to work in the real world. And then I finish off and say how much it's going to cost. But this is not a sales meeting or a sales class. So we've started with the guts of it, how this actually works in the back end, which for most of you shouldn't need to know. But what you do need to know is how do you actually plan your marketing campaigns? Where do you get the information from that you can make the right marketing decisions? Hello. So we've actually used this in small, medium and large companies. That's the beauty of it, okay? Some large ones, like enterprise petroleum companies, we've helped them better understand their marketing spend, where before they were using pivot tables and Excel spreadsheets and taking just data that was coming from their marketing departments or even their media companies. So we were able to very quickly help them understand what their return on investment on their very, very large marketing spend was, okay? And the other thing is we're an outsider, so we didn't have an ulterior motive. We weren't trying to sell them a different type of media capability or advertising capability. We were just trying to prove that the money they were spending was being spent effectively. So do you want to go through some of the concepts? Thanks. So really good ones as well. Like, there's so many things you can do with these guys, and that's the beauty of it. In the old days, you used to get, you'd call up people and you'd find out what your market segment's going to look like, where you should position yourself in the market space, how much you should charge for things. And it took time and money and people, and it was very, very difficult. These days, with the proliferation of social media, Wi-Fi, you can get this data and then turn it into information very quickly and at a very low cost level, okay? So I'm going to talk about 4 particular concepts today that some of you might have already heard of, and some might go, wow, that's pretty cool, and we can actually use that very quickly. Mo already touched on purple Wi-Fi, for example. But what if you come into a very large retail store and you have a little sign that says free Wi-Fi for daily specials, like us on Facebook right now and connect to our network. You start walking around the store and you stand in a particular aisle for a very extended period of time, but you don't make a purchase. You walk to the counter with a different product and you're about to purchase that product. At the same time, there's a screen looking at you and picks up the item that you were actually looking at, but you didn't purchase, and says, hey, for only the next 30 minutes, there's 25% off the item that you were actually holding in your hand. It's much easier to convert a sale when someone's in the store than it is once they're left. Yeah? Pretty straightforward. Pretty powerful. So that's already happening out there. And that's something that we've already rolled out to our customers, and a lot of other customers are coming on board. And very, very, from a price perspective, it's in a really good price range. If we talked about this 5 years ago, you would have been talking about a multi-million-dollar solution. Now you're probably talking about a $100,000 solution. That's where the technology and the boffins in the back end have been able to get us to, okay? So it's 80-20 rule, 80% out of the box, it's ready to go, and then just 20% modification and implementation. Another great concept, just vouchers. You can also have the same thing in the store. You can give vouchers. You could actually, or you could be in a different sort of a services area. You could be at a gallery where people come in and actually connect to your network via the Wi-Fi. You can actually give them a voucher because, you know what? Your actual cafe has had very low traffic that day. So you can start instantly market and say, hey, buy one coffee, get one free. Yeah. So sure, your actual revenue figures might go down, but you're still actually selling something. Yeah. So much quicker. Another concept is, and this is another one that we've just recently finished off, was utilizing, again, Excel spreadsheets. That's what we've got, Excel spreadsheets, 2 Excel spreadsheets with revenue figures and foot traffic figures, and of a particular chain of stores, a couple of hundred around Australia. And what we were able to do for them was, again, not quite in the marketing space, but it gives you an idea of the power. We were able to use it to predictively plan their rostering of casual staff. Because when we look at the Bureau of Meteorology and the last 12 months, the weather patterns, we could see that when the weather changed to a particular level, like below 20 degrees, overcast, rainy, their foot traffic decreased by 12 to 18%, their revenue decreased by about 18%. So why have 4 casuals on when you know the weather's going to be bad, when you only need 3? The managers on site, they're too busy to think that. They just look at it, oh yeah, we had 4 last week, let's have 4 this week. So very easy. This is just to get your head around the concepts and how easy they are. Another one?
It'll be fun in Melbourne.
So yes, Brisbane, you worked out really well actually, oddly enough. Counter, so again, AdWords using analytics. Counter is a point of sale. So again, being able to very quickly understand how your AdWords campaigns or your radio advertising campaign or your television advertising campaign is impacting on revenue figures at the cash draw. So not on a reporting cycle, which might be a week, 2 weeks, a month, or 2 months, depending on, some companies have report cycles of 6 months. So that's a long time to spend a lot of money on advertising and marketing money for not getting a lot of return, or not understanding what's actually happening in the stores at the bottom line. So if you've got a real-time analytics view of what's actually going on, and you're saying, hey, we just spent $1 million on radio advertising in the last month, look, this is what's happened. So very simple concepts. Does that all make sense? Is that pretty straightforward? Is anyone doing that already in their business? Yes, anyone? You see opportunities for it in where you are. So, and as doing a marketing class, like for me, the great part of doing the marketing class was I learned the concepts, but also just being able to talk at that marketing level to the people that are actually the influencers and the decision makers, and being able to bring up an idea and then actually go and validate that idea. Yes?
Does it connect to all sorts of data, like anything?
Pretty much anything, yeah.
Anything
Excel
like that.
spreadsheets, CSV files, SAP, Oracle. The beauty of it is we can actually create connectors. If it doesn't connect with something out of the box, it's a very low price point to connect it. There are still products. So why did we choose Tableau? Yeah, some of you might ask why. And the way we sell it, or the way that we provide the service, is as a managed service. Okay, so we hardly even tell them about Tableau because they don't really need to know. All they need to know is that we're solving their reporting problem or their analytics problem. But the reason we chose to partner with Tableau was in the Gartner report, and this is where information, this part of the subject, that whole information systems, the Gartner reports are a really great place for you guys to find out what's going on in the landscape and at the business level. So that report for the last 3 years has clearly articulated that Tableau has been in the top right hand quadrant for execution. Now, why is execution important? Well, in particular in bigger companies, and I've worked at a very large telco that gives away a lot of free Wi-Fi, they would spend millions, I'm not kidding you, millions on trying to build these things internally and then just writing them off. With Tableau, you can actually deliver. In most cases, for every one of those concepts I showed you today, we had things running, and actually we use agile methodology, and we actually had things running and customer was able to interact with the capability always between 2 and 4 weeks, okay? I've never worked in a large telco analytics BI project where you did anything in 2 or 4 weeks. You just had meetings and meetings. So, and the beauty is, as if you do work in the marketing area, or you are going to start a business, this is where it's really important, very powerful. If you're going to start a business, you've got all these concepts and ideas, and you want to vet them. There are data sources out there that you can get and actually utilize to actually say, yes, that's actually a really good area or market segment to go into, or no, it's not. Instead of just spending a lot of money on advertising, a lot of money on research, you can actually do that, a lot of it yourself, or in your business. If your business wants to grow and expand into a different area, different demographic, there's a lot of data that your business already holds, but it probably hasn't tapped into it in a way that's actually informative. And we as humans, I think it's about 70 or 75% of us are geared visually. We're visual people, visual beings. So if it's a visual, we understand it a lot easier than just a line of numbers. And the great thing about this is as well, this is not like an Excel pivot table that you suddenly turn into a pie chart. This is 3D, so it means that you can actually tap into it. Okay, you can drill into that data and actually understand what's going on with the data. You don't have to call 100 people that actually put the report together or give you that view. You can actually figure it out yourself within a minute. So that saves a lot of time.
Sorry, Mitch, just to interject as well. Back to that question. So
I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the concept or term API. Have most of you heard of that? So any software or software as a service that provides an open API can be tapped into and data can be readily available. I think most software that you use today, or most data sources that you use today, provide an API to make or break for a lot of businesses.
Yes.
So I can see the concept around business to consumer. How is big data helping with business to business?
Yeah, that's right.
So I guess business to business, you share a lot of similarities in terms of data. We have done a few projects business to business, and they predominantly focused around, especially the reporting side, they reside around dollars and cents. So all the data is not so much about demographics and whatnot, it's about how does my advertising result into greater awareness and at the end of the day, bottom line.
Yeah, actually there was one that I think actually, I don't know if it was you, there was one where it was a big wholesaler selling to about 2,500 of its customers, so B2B, and they were selling, they were retailers. What they were finding was that, again, they didn't understand how effective the marketing spend was with certain products. And what we were able to actually ascertain at the end was, it was the performance of the sales reps that was actually the issue. It wasn't the advertising. All the advertising that was coming out was exactly the same. The way that they did it, everything was great. But what they found was there were certain sales reps that were underperforming, and that was actually skewing the numbers. So again, and it's having that multiple data sources, because before they were only looking at 2 data sets. They were looking at the sales figures, the B2B sales figures, and the market spend. What we did was we brought in about 5 other data sources, including CRM. And then we found that, hey, what's going on here? What was happening is some sales reps had way too many agents to go to. And therefore, they were just not giving them enough attention. And the sales figures actually decreased on these particular products. They were actually trying really aggressively to market. So there's heaps. Look, I'll encourage you all to have a look at Tableau. If you want to go back to the page, there's a lot of marketing concepts on there. So there's actually quite a lot of retail ones. And yes.
Yeah. I'm actually one of the guys working with yourself
Yep.
in the marketing plan. I've got a couple of questions around, firstly, how do you guys go about communicating to your customers or potential customers what it is that you're actually doing?
Yep.
I think there's no question big data and what you guys are doing got amazing opportunities and solutions for every single business. But I think that's part of the problem in communicating it.
Yeah.
How do we, I guess, focus in on a particular opportunity that I suppose the business can get from you guys? I mean, because a lot of the time, I suppose they don't know what their problem is
Correct.
in the first place. So, you know, when you walk into a room and say, hey, my name's David and I can solve all of your problems, you know, it sort of assumes that they know what their problem is.
Correct. That's a great question. So it's a very simple one. We never go in and actually talk to them at this level. We never started this, okay? We start usually, it's simple, it's not sexy, it's not groovy, reporting, okay? Show us your reports, current reports, and we'll automate them for you. Because pretty much every business, doesn't matter how small, medium, large, they all have a reporting issue. And what happens is, in most 90% of the cases, we will go in, automate a set of reports, and what that will give them is an immediate return on investment. Because in most cases, we'll find that they'll have one person doing reporting full time or 2 people who, as soon as you've shrunk that down, okay, you've created value for the organization, and it's ROI. If it's, you know, we've got reporting people $150,000 a year to do pivot tables. A bit crazy. And then suddenly that person can actually do something a lot more productive. So ROI, very quick. And once we've started that conversation, and that's been done, and we've cemented ourselves in the organisation, that's when we start to talk to them about these concepts. So it's never, let's do a pitch of This is Nirvana. This is the nice stuff that he really loves. Okay, well, the techies really get their rocks off. But the reality is, we got to. And I was trying to be cognizant of the fact I don't want to make it a sales pitch, but normally it's show me your reports, show me how you do your reports, help me understand your report cycles, tell me how much it costs for you to create those reports, and then we'll go from there. Tim.
Might that be something you would offer for free to begin with, just get a relationship?
No, definitely no.
Because like some environmental companies might come and report it for free and go, oh, well, we can help you with this.
Yes, but no, that's not something we would ever do, because we don't have to prove anything. We know it works, and it costs a lot of money for us to. We're talking thousands of dollars to actually go into a company, sit with them, create an actual workflow of their reports, how they work. So there's quite a lot of consulting. Then there's the licensing costs for the actual capability, and it is as a managed service. We'll go into a company. Like I said, we'll sit down and we'll start with maybe 5 reports. If they've got 80, we might start with 5. We'll do those really quickly. And then they straight away, they see a return on investment. And then we start to the next ones and the next ones. But I get where you're coming from.
I suppose the reason why I ask is because for a lot of bigger companies, it's hard for someone like you to come in because they probably already do a little bit of automation, but they may not have the full gamut of things they could do to make it as efficient as possible.
Yeah, look, I mean,
and this kind of touches back on the previous question as well. So, in my roles, especially, we'll start off coming in trying to implement a service that may not be directly related to Tableau or analytics, but at the end of the day, it does create data. And then once that moment hits where we've created another data source or another software as a service implementation, it becomes natural for the business to say, how do we report on this? What's the capability of reporting? Most software as a service will provide some sort of level of reporting, but that's the problem that we're facing today, that we have 500 different sources of reporting, and people don't realize it's a problem until they get confronted with a data source. So I think when it comes to generating free or starting off with the free audit or coming in to provide something, they already know that they've got a problem beforehand. And it usually starts, I don't want to say the problem starts with me, but it usually starts when they get confronted with that data. Does that answer you?
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, just, that makes perfect sense, so thanks for that. The other question is more about, I'm asking an opinion around marketers, and I'm in marketing, that's my core role. And it's quite interesting, back in my undergraduate, I was, worded up by my lecturers saying that, David, you're going to be fighting the battle of return on investment for the rest of your life. And it's an interesting one where I'm quite hesitant to use this reactionary approach to, okay, we saw a boost of sales at this point, therefore the marketing campaign was successful. When you're particularly talking about complex, highly involved products, you don't see those same level of patterns and everything else. So I guess my question to you is for the more, highly involved purchases, so whether it be, expensive items or education or something like that, do you still see the data, and have you had any experience in playing around with data and measuring what has been effective? Because again, just because they heard a radio ad and that was the last thing that they responded to doesn't mean that the $10,000 invested into that person over the past 12 months isn't just as vital in the process. That's
a great question. And yes, we have seen that. So the good thing about having multiple data sources is that, and I guess this is part of the consultation early on, is how do we take something that complex and display it into a dashboard that is a lot more informative than just a return on investment. Right? So we saw in one of the slides, lots of pretty different graphs. Seeing that and being able to drill down on it and updating all the other graphs around it gives you a lot more information than what you typically get just by looking at graph by graph. And so in one of the examples that I spoke to was an energy company that needed to know whether their radio and their online marketing had some sort of correlation. And so just looking at one alone, you got a pretty average picture. But looking at them together, you started to see a lot more of the big picture. And so I think that's a typical challenge that a lot of the marketing people speak about when we come in. But that's the beauty of the software. It resolves a lot of that. There is a lot of planning that goes into it. But yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we're trying to achieve here.
And it wasn't, and that was the thing as well. Before they were always looking at it, radio, television, internet, and then it would stop. The picture would kind of stop there, and this is how much we've spent. But now they're looking at it, and they've got all these other products and promotions and CRMs and all these. I think it's what, 6 or how many data sources have we got? There's a lot. There's 6 plus 9 different data sources. So that starts to paint a very different picture of the landscape. And we're not there to just, and the idea is we're not there to just give, to say, hey guys, look what's happening, change your marketing strategy. That's not, this is one of the drivers or an information portal to help them make more effective decisions. But it's not just something to make knee-jerk reactions to. That's why you always need marketing people to actually oversee it, because they'll be able to analyze it. And look, with this energy company, we're working with the marketing team. So really, and they just come every week, I think almost now, new data source, and say, oh, what happens if we do this? What will the landscape look like if we do this? And that's the beauty of this. In the old, like 5 years ago, someone brings in a new data source, that meant $1 million project, because we needed to create an API, we need to do all of this. That's not the idea. We're not having to deal with that anymore. It's not a $1 million purchase order, it might be a $10,000 purchase order. Very, very different conversations.
And I think that's the hesitation of a lot of marketers as well. It's like, the software is going to replace my job. Absolutely not.
No.
It doesn't do that at all.
No, it takes a lot. And the thing that, and it's not really a fear, because again, I love this sort of stuff, and I think to be able to make more informed decisions is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. But real time scares a lot of marketers.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's people that are uninformed. I think that's what we fear, is that they will interpret this data as saying, well, clearly that's not working, then slash the budget, let's put it all into digital.
Absolutely.
And where I don't think that's necessary.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right.
And we've validated. The other thing is validation. People just saying, well, how do you know? This gives them a validation tool as well. So which they can go up to management and say, hey guys, the strategies we've been working on, the marketing concept and strategy, they're actually working. This is the net result, and we can actually follow it through the process. Sorry, was this someone else?
Yeah, I think you partially answered the question. It was we've just started work for a big engineering company, global, but we've just come across Tableau, and because it's a big company, other people have been using it. But I've got a team, and we've been slaving over Excel and Tableau, just boiling our minds in how powerful it is.
That's right.
And so my question, which was partially related to that previous discussion, was when you go into a company such as the energy company, there's likely more opportunity for you guys, probably even beyond the marketing scope.
Correct.
To get into that data, because, for example, the energy, when the peak load is, when they're creating the most energy, when they're buying and selling from Tassie or the Snowy River scheme, and I can sort of understand the potential of this, and I can kind of sense that when you're in there, you're almost scratching on the door, going, "What else have you got?"
And with that's the beauty of it is we don't actually even have to scratch. That's the great thing, and we try and talk to the decision makers. It's very rare that we'll talk to IT. Okay, IT is a roadblock. I know, I've been in IT for 20 years. It's IT roadblock. Okay, IT that's not who we want to talk to. Okay, because IT will find every excuse under the book not to do something. Okay, because that means they have to pull their finger out. I'm going to say it because I've been in IT. All right. Yeah. So we go to decision makers. We go to with the marketing manager. We go to and in a lot of other companies, CFO, CEO, head of marketing, head of operations. They are the ones that see the power of this and go, yes, and they'll make sure it happens.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, did you get, like you said, the head of operations and people in, I'll set the scope.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, is that because the marketing department usually in most businesses are a little bit more forward-thinking than maybe the other divisions within the business?
No, it's not always marketing. So it depends on the company. For the energy company, it was marketing because I knew the person there. It was easy. It depends, you know, it depends on the company. For us, we've got a pretty good network, and yeah, we're not shy, or we're not short of customers. So we try, and we will pick and choose customers as well now, because we've come to a point where we know we can't waste our time with certain people. I don't want to have this behemoth of a company that needs to do 12 coffees and 5 lunches. You know, it's just, within 2 or 3 meetings, we need to understand, yes, these people are serious, we've got something here, or we're probably not the right fit. And that's my job as running sales, that needs to always walk the tightrope. So
just going back to that question as well. We find that we start off doing a lot of automation for a lot of businesses, because the number one problem that a lot of businesses have is that we have thousands of Excel spreadsheets that sit across thousands of different computers that get emailed here and there and thrown back and forth. I would like to think that that was old stuff, because Dropbox has kind of revolutionized everything like that, and NASs and whatnot. But it's still very common today, right? So we start just by saying, hey, look at your data, let's just streamline it, and then the natural progression is how do we combine it? So it kind of touches on that question that you had.
Yeah, makes sense.
yes,
Sherry works fine with financial data. Service, service metrics for
Yes,
organisations.
yeah. Well, like I was saying before, with the company that we did their human resource management. So we had a spreadsheet that had financial data, spreadsheet that had their the last 12 months of HR data, so how many people working on, and foot traffic. And they just gave us Excel spreadsheets. Signed an NDA, 12 months, 3 Excel spreadsheets, plugged it into the BOM, and that's it. Yeah, and it's pretty much, it's like any data source. There's not, you can be as groovy and as clever as you like. Yes?
I would say it's insurance has a great market for this as well. Like for instance, I've been part of IT department for a couple of insurance companies as well. Like for product development, they use big data plays a key role. Like we use IBM analytics and get the data. Like insurance is what is going to be, I say, a big market for.
It's pretty much any organisation. And look, we have actually done this for an IT department, because it helps them, again, IT departments, they've got their certain reports, but they've plugged into other parts of the business to actually give better customer service to the people they're supporting as well. So there's a lot of great things you can do this. You can be as clever as you like. That's the beauty of it. And once it's in one little place, it's kind of like a little bug, it just starts to grow and evolve, and you suddenly have the CFO's office, the CEO's office, everyone wants it. I think Toyota wants it.
I'm sure we could use it. We use a lot of spreadsheets.
Everyone does. Everyone excels, yeah? Everyone's into spreadsheets. So why not make, but look, from a marketing perspective, like I said, I did this class last year, thoroughly enjoyed it. I really got to understand marketing a bit more. I didn't just see it as look, I'll be honest, I thought, this is going to be a bit airy-fairy, but it's been really powerful, because having our startup, we're the founding members, and it's only 2 years old. Having a startup, the more you understand, that's why the executive MBA is so powerful, because every subject prepares you if you want to go to a startup, if you want to go and take things to the next level in your own business, or in a large organisation or a medium company. It really prepares you. And the marketing class is no different. It's really powerful. It gives you amazing tools. I'm not, I struggle with the whole brain cram it all in, but I still refer to my notes. Like when I look at things and we go and do presentations to marketing departments, I'll still refer to my notes. I'll still go through my book, and I always find little bits that are really powerful. But this is a tool. Yeah? Information technology is so important to marketing these days. That's why we're here. There's no real other reason. You need to utilise it, or you will lose a lot of money if you don't. And if you can't demonstrate
brand,
yeah.
you'll just fall behind.
Yeah.
Any other question?
Yeah. Sorry? Tableau is an American company. It's owned. They went public just a while ago. Very fast growing. I can't remember what their capitalization is. I think they're around 5 billion now. So they're American based. I think they're going to hire another 1,000 people this financial year. So they're very fast growing. And like I said, the best thing about them is the fact that you can execute it very easily at a very low cost level. As opposed to a lot of the other products that are out there, you're going to spend tenfold of resources and finance trying to actually implement it.
And it's not a new software by any means.
No.
It's been around for about 5 years now, if not longer, which is old.
Old in software.
Software years. That's probably about 1 million years old, right?
So what do you see as the next disruptor to this? I mean, at the end of the day, you're an enabler, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you're just going out there. You may choose another suite of products.
We already
the
look.
technical term is VAR, VAR, which is value added reseller, right? So we'll add an extra level of service on top of this software that typically someone won't have the expertise to do.
So your business model will just move.
Would shift to the technology.
Yeah, and we're looking at other players out there. Look, SaaS is a very huge player. They've been around in the analytics game for 15 plus years. The thing with SaaS is they're very enterprise grade. Yeah, and they're paying the price. I've never seen a SaaS project in a large telco for less than $10 million, and they might have only delivered 20% of the objectives. But when it comes to the predictive layer, SaaS is ahead of everyone else. When it comes to predictive analytics, they're really far ahead. The issue is the cost. Unless you're a huge enterprise, the cost is just too prohibitive.
But the beauty of that is that in the next 2 years, we won't have that same conversation.
Exactly.
Because of the development. Yeah, that's right. The gap just gets more and more. Of course, if they want to stay in the game, they'll have to come up with something that's even more brighter and more magical. But in terms of that closing gap, it's getting faster and faster. And the reason why we chose Tableau after a lot of research and understanding the market is because it was closing that gap faster and at a price point that was achievable for a lot of the small, medium. And of course, once you touch the small or medium, the enterprise are there as well.
Yes.
Just on the sexy side of things with the purple cloud, we had a conversation earlier about sort of like the meshing and what have you.
Yeah, so just another concept that Kevin and I have been speaking about for a while now, and we'll figure out how to do it. And this is a really powerful. It's derived from Smart City, so New York. That's where they started off. And it was free Wi-Fi to tourists. Okay, so our concept is, if the city of Melbourne starts giving away free Wi-Fi around for tourists, so as you come through immigration, you get a little docket to get your free Wi-Fi, and you like City of Melbourne on Facebook. What happens then is that data you can actually start using to track the people where they are. So if, for example, let's say the NGV is at 50% capacity, but you've got thousands of people down at the big Ferris wheel that never works, or at the ice skating ring, or in a lot of different places. You can actually, then what you do is you actually can advertise to those people and say, hey, for the next 2 hours, NGV will have buy one ticket, get one free, for example, okay? And you can actually start moving people to where you want them to go. Okay, so this has been done. So I'm not that clever, so I couldn't have thought of it myself, but it's been done and it works. So the idea is you get a lot of businesses. The city of Melbourne would sell this to the businesses, and you can actually start funneling people into areas where you've got low foot traffic. And if you did it also, for example, in the NGV at the moment, Telstra sold the solution. Let's just say it has some issues. Our solution works just using Wi-Fi. Would actually be able to, again, channel people through the gallery, completely understand how long people are spending at each exhibit, market to them as well there and then, understand the demographics. Like I said, this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that makes me excited. because I know it's going to be a really big project. And no, sorry, sales guy. So yeah, sorry, someone else. Anyone else?
Well, I think
All good?
that's
Excellent. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
Fantastic. And we do have a bottle of wine.